Spree Game 2023. The lead story, it's still going to be Matt Rhule.
You are Locked On Huskers, your daily podcast on the Nebraska Cornhuskers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey gang, DP here, Derrick Pearson. Thank you for making Locked On Huskers your first watch and listen each and every single day. Greatly appreciated. If you subscribe, do so. Take a moment now, hit the button, do that for us, get the alerts. That way we can get this content to you. Something exciting is coming. April 22nd, built.com. Now, I don't know what the flavor is. I don't know what this new flavor is that's going to change the world. But they're telling you, listen, the excitement's real, and it's something you don't want to miss. If you know how Built works, they have the most incredible protein bars in the game. And they do these amazing flavor drops with unreal flavors and limited quality. So April 22nd is the day to do it. Mark your calendar. Head to Built.com as you watch this. April 22nd, be first to discover what the hype is all about. I can't wait to know what this new flavor is. But if you want, go to Built.com. Use the promo code LOCKEDON15. LOCKEDON15 for a 15% discount on your order, Built.com. Yeah. As writers and fans, there will be a story that we tell next week and that we talk about from this point forward. Because it's the only information we will have, and it'll be the latest and most factual thing that we have that takes us into summer camp and August, which is what we see on the field, Memorial Stadium. Now, I can tell you as simple, all of this could be about the players. But the reality is, Saturday, April 22nd will be about the coaches, because it's the coaches who need to validate and verify and confirm. It's the coaches who need to show that they've got a grasp, that they are developing, that they are assessing talent, that their eyes can be trusted, that their methodology and their verbiage has landed, right? It's the first time that you get to show the family your new baby. It's when you go to the family reunion and you get to go, okay, look what we've done. These are ours. This is the first time that after you've demoed the house and you broke it down to the bones of the building, and then you rebuild it and start to decorate, and the first time folks get to come over and say, this is what you've done with the place. And look, this is a house we're familiar with. Like, this is not new. We know what it's supposed to look like in there. Like, this is the mansion on the hill, and you're inviting everybody. Like, listen, folks know that you've had under construction signs on the good old girl, the grand dame that is Memorial Stadium. You've had the signage there that said under construction. And we know that the interior work is being done. But Husker fans are unique in that they know it does. The furniture and all that stuff is decor. What they want to know is the plumbing work? Is the wiring good? Is the Wi-Fi letting me communicate, and is it being received? Like, we understand our eyes will be drawn to quarterbacks and receivers and running backs and defensive backs. But Husker fans are like, whoa. What the big boys doing? Like, we need to know what the big boys doing. What have you been teaching our big boys? Like, are they nasty? Are they strong? Do they look good in the uniform? There's a lot of stuff we need to see. And all of that points directly to Matt Rhule, Marcus Satterfield, Tony White, strength coach. Like, it's a whole bunch of things in play. Like, wait a minute. What have you been doing with this house that we pay for? Like, you own that house because we pay for it. So tell me what our good tax dollars have done. Does this look good? Wait a minute. You said you spent $74 million on this thing in the offseason. Wait a minute. Are we getting $74 million worth of production? Does this look like you've been actually working in the house? Or are you going to just go, hey, look, we're really not finished yet. So don't really pay attention to what you see today. This is just stop. The real opening, this is the soft opening. The real opening is in August. So don't really pay attention. That's what's happening at Memorial Stadium. Like, Matt Rhule is going to have to go out and he's going to have to open his doors. He's going to have to do a Willy Wonka move, right? Everybody knows the scene from Willy Wonka. Beginning of the movie where he marches out and then he rolls over and says, ta-da! And the gates open and the music starts and he starts singing and everybody sings along and everything's wonderful until some fat kid falls in the lake and he gets sucked up and it's chaotic and drama. Some little girl just can't keep her hands to herself. And up, there she's blue now. Oh, no, that's just terrible. Up, here come the little people. Not what we were expecting. What? Hey, I kind of like that. That wasn't expected, but I kind of dig it. Matt Rhule, you're Willy Wonka. I'm sorry, I hate to tell you that, but for a couple of days, that's what's going on. For that set, look, it's got to be amazing because people want to say, like, they want to enjoy this thing. Husker fans have PTSD. They have bought in and stayed committed and been loyal, and they've trusted Matt Rhule. And Matt Rhule has done the work. He's been out, like he's sent out golden tickets to parts of the state that haven't had golden tickets. He's made appearances. He's been all over the place, right? And folks are singing. Like, look, that building will be in full song on Saturday. But then the question is, after you're done singing, and after you've done patting each other on the back, and the magic and the mystery wears off, then you get to see the work. And Matt Rhule and that coaching staff, take a deep breath, folks, because it's not the full playbook. You're not going to see the full playbook. They're not going to show you everything. But if you're paying attention, they're going to show you the things that are important. Because the most important things in a program and on a team are the things that you do first and most often. Because those are the things that you're going to do the most, and you have to do it the best. So once all the pageantry is done, and the celebration is done, and the singing is done, then the lessons will be taught, and the lessons will be learned. Matt Rhule is going to have to show a master's class worth of work at Memorial Stadium. Who are the key students? Who are the ones that we're going to talk about when we get done, when we leave the building on Saturday? We'll talk about that when we come back to Locked On Huskers. We'll be right back. Again, thank you, folks, for making Locked On Huskers your first watch and listen each and every single day, and for going on the ride with us. Because, no matter what I plan, I end up going somewhere else in my storytelling. So we appreciate you. Again, if you have not subscribed, please do so. Greatly appreciate it. I want to thank folks from FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of the NBA. And it's NBA playoffs, and there's tons of talk, tons of information going on. FanDuel Sportsbook does a great job, exceptional job of allowing you to be a fan at a higher level with more commitment. FanDuel.com/lockdown for details. Make every moment more. FanDuel Sportsbook. So we're talking about like Matt Rhule, Tony White, Marcus Satterfield. Those would be the names that we talk about come Monday. How they did, who won the battle. Last week's Saturday practice, the defense won the day. And if you want to feel good about Nebraska offensively, they're going to have to win the day in the spring game. Now, it'll be a statement of Matt Rhule in which group is highlighted and excels. Because that'll be the focus, and that will become the narrative, and that will become the group of people who we talk about in glowing terms over the next 4 months. Like, that's how important this is. This is the narrative. The full narrative-based thing will be based on facts and knowledge and experience that we see from Saturday spring game. My comfort is that defenses early in the season tend to be ahead of offenses, even in a new scheme. But then it hits me that not only is the 3-3-5 and Tony White is that new, but it's new to play against for Nebraska offensively because different personnel, different starters, different scheme from Marcus Satterfield, different demands from Marcus Satterfield. When they walk off the field after the game, one of those coaches is going to be happier than the others. I'm not sure Matt Rhule can be happy at the end of Saturday's game because he'll have to look at one of those coaches and say, that's not good enough. Hopefully it's just one of them. If it's both of them, oh boy. But we hope that it's one of them. And whoever it is, and defensively, we'll start with that group. And then in the last segment, we'll talk about the offensive group. But the names that matter most, and the biggest story for me is the veteran. What does Luke look like? Like Reimer's, Reimer's been the leader. He's been the steadfast, the steady, the constant. What does he look like? How many reps does he get? How much leading is he allowed to do? Is he comfortable in doing in a new defensive scheme with new different defensive responsibilities? We're not talking about Heinrich Saturday because we haven't seen him. And so there's less expectation. But I expect that Luke gets some reps and makes some plays. We will pay attention. MJ Sherman, it will be the first chance for Husker fans to see him in full. Chief Borders. How Chief Borders and MJ Sherman show out is important. But they will only highlight and point to Jamari Butler and what he does in the plays. And I can't imagine that they're going to play, 50-plus plays. So it's a matter of play calls against them while they're on the field and, what the offensive focus is. Because Marcus Satterfield could make passing the focus on Saturday, which changes the responsibility defensively and the players who can highlight and excel against it. If it's run first, then it's the big guy. The front six will matter. And then if it's pass game first, it'll be the back five. And the pressure that you can put off from the front three. I'm not sure how much they're going to talk. Not sure how much Tony White and Marcus Satterfield are going to talk about what each of their focuses and priorities are. But in a secondary full, Malcolm Hartzog, like we know that he's the elite defender in the back five. We'll get to watch some monsters and we'll get to watch some flex guys get in different situations. But to me, the big guys up front, the big six up front will tell us the entire story about Nebraska defensively. Did they get pressure from the blitz? Did they get pressure without the blitz? Were they able to hold water in the run game? How did they tackle an open field? What different rotations were used? What were the different combinations that were used? And through all of that, what are you getting from Buckley, Hutmacher, Wynn? Who's going to come and support? How many reps did they get? That'll be the story defensively. Which of the big guys did you see? What did you get from Judy? What situations were he put in? What was he put in? What responsibilities was he given? And then how did he execute? The teaching, the educating, the practice, and then the execution. We know that's the pecking order of priority. Saturday is a day of executing. It's not a day of development. It's not a day of anything else. It's a day. Can you take all of the work and all the information, all the data and all the reps and put it into effective execution in front of a live crowd at Memorial Stadium. That's how important Saturday is. That'll be the story. Did they execute? We'll put a pin there and go to break. When we come back, we'll talk about the offensive side of the ball and the names that we're going to be talking about on Monday. And there's quite a few. Yes, Marcus Satterfield is a name that we will talk about, but quarterback position, running back position, receiver position, offensive line, tight ends. We'll talk about all of that. And then we'll peek behind the curtain that is the offensive scheme. What's going to be play one, priority one for the Huskers offense? We'll talk about that when we come back to Locked On Huskers. Once again, thank you for hanging out with me today on Locked On Huskers. Greatly appreciate you hanging out. Again, hopefully you've subscribed and you're getting the notification. And we'll take you through all the way through the month of April. We'll break down what we saw. And there'll be plenty of stories for us to cover next week with Locked On Huskers. So don't you worry. We're not going anywhere. We're gonna stay connected to the program. We'll even talk a little baseball, a little softball next week. We'll get into that as well because, I don't know, one of those teams is in first place in the Big Ten Conference, and one of those teams is in second place. So, and they got a chance to finish first. So we'll talk about that as well. Offensively, spring game, Marcus Satterfield, I'm not sure that he will be satisfied no matter what he sees Saturday, come Monday. Like all of its teachable coaching moments. So you're just trying to see who executes. That means that your lesson has landed, your development has landed, the skill training has worked, strength and the strength program is landing as it should, and that the players have bought in. That's what Saturday's for. That's what it's all about. But jokingly, I think the only play that makes everybody in the building happy on the first play of the spring game would be whoever's at quarterback, probably Jeff Sims, that he play fakes, drops back, and launches a missile to any one of 6 Husker receivers. And it goes length of the field for a touchdown. That makes everybody in the building happy except for the families of the secondary. That's like you're not going to shoot 100% with the first play, no matter what it is. But I think the highest ratio of success and joy would be, Sims to Washington for 75 yards or whatever it was, and it's there. Or, running back one, whoever that is, and then Gabe Irvin, maybe. That Irvin took the handoff and goes 75, or Jeff Sims on a zone read pulls it and goes house. Those are the only plays. Well, otherwise, nobody's gonna be happy. It's just not gonna happen. But the focus, the entire day, will be about the bigs up front. That'll be the story. It doesn't matter what the production is, good or bad, in the pass game or run game. The first story Monday will be about the offensive line play, who the 5 were, the different rotations, who had success, who executed, and who did not. Look, it's Nebraska football, and no matter whether you're throwing the ball as a priority, running the ball downhill as a priority, whether there's a fullback or an H-back or a tight end, extra tight ends, or receivers who are violent on the edge, setting room for rushers and for getting downfield for the passing quarterbacks. It won't matter if the big 5 don't win the day. The best sign for Nebraska football of all the groups on Monday will be that the offensive line was dominant. And if those words can't be said, there will be some resistance and some doubt going through the next 4 months until summer camp. The offensive line isn't dominant. then back into the transfer portal we go. If the offensive line isn't dominant, then the rush for Teddy Prohaska and the emergence of a full group of linemen. What do you do with Ben Hart and Corcoran? What do you do? What's Ethan Piper's role? How healthy is Prohaska? The return of Nori and what it looks like. What does Scott give you in the middle? Or does he stay in the middle? There'll be a ton of questions. Do you need more tight end help? Can you rely on Gilbert and Fedoni to block and to help out the bigs? And are the running backs in full chemistry with the offensive line? And then which quarterback makes the most of his opportunity? We'll talk about the offensive line first, and then we'll talk about the quarterbacks and all the other skill positions. But the day will be determined and judged by offensive line play. That's how you will know about the future of Nebraska football, especially the immediate future. If this group doesn't get it done, there'll be a different group in place by August. That I can guarantee. All facts. Again, thank you for making Locked On Huskers your first watch and listen each and every single day. Greatly appreciate you, folks. Again, we'll close this show out with the 3 words that will rain down in Memorial Stadium. Go Big Red.